guys, we're going to talk about coffee today. That's something that, if you're like me, I like my coffee. First thing in the morning, gotta have my coffee. And I like additives in it. I like to add honey or French vanilla or whatever I've got, some kind of coffee mate to it. It's always something. But what if coffee cost more than you thought you could afford? Right now it's running probably anywhere from, I'd say $5, $6 a pound to anywhere from $12 to $15 a pound, according to the specialty coffee you like. And most people are coffee experts. They don't like cheap coffee because of the taste. The cheap coffee has kind of a more of a roasted, sometimes people would say a burnt taste, I guess you would think of it. But what if coffee went to $30, $40 a pound? Can you afford it? What would you do? Right now, most of you are paying that when you go get your lattes and your espressos and your cappuccinos because they have such a strong coffee concentrate in it. You're paying $8, $10, $15 for a cup of coffee. Right now, a cup of coffee ought to sell for about $1. Just saying. So we're paying a lot for coffee. And most people won't drink just any kind. You've got your certain brand, you've got your certain way you want it done, and anything less doesn't work for you. It doesn't for me sometimes. But being frugal and always thinking ahead, I'm going, what would I do about coffee if a life-changing event happened? And it could. It happened during the Great Depression, and it happened during the Civil War. The people in the South were used to drinking coffee, and when the Civil War started, the ships did not bring in the coffee, and they had to do without. Or if they got it, it cost, according to one of the newspaper articles, $1 a pound, okay? And they couldn't afford it. So I want to read you a little bit about what they used as alternatives, and then I'm going to show you what I did with one of the alternatives and how I made a cup of coffee that was actually a decent tasting cup of coffee. We're going to see. It tasted okay. I could live with it. And it's something that Danny and I have quite readily on hand. But let me read you what they said in the Flying Dutchman. It's on the internet. It was a Confederate coffee substitute. And he pulled these newspaper articles from the 1800s. Some of them 1861, 65, 63, all in that area. So many worthless substitutes for coffee have been named. The acorn need only be tried once to be discarded. Cornmeal and grits can easily be detected by the taste, and rye is only tolerable. Okra seeds is excellent, but it costs about $1 a pound too, which puts it entirely out of the question. So what then can we use? We want something that tastes like coffee, smells like it, and looks like it. We have just the thing in the sweet potato. When properly prepared, I defy anyone to detect the difference between it and a pure cup of Rio. Okay, so Danny and I grow sweet potatoes. You guys know we grow lots and lots of sweet potatoes. So I had to try it. I had to know, can a cup of sweet potato coffee taste good? Could it taste like coffee that we have? So I'm going to show you clips of what we did and how we did it to make a cup of coffee. And guys, it tastes pretty good. First off, I took sweet potatoes and peeled them, and then I sliced them real thin and put them in my dehydrator. I let the dehydrator go about 5-6 hours, and when they were dehydrated really well and crispy, I took them out. Then I put them in the oven, and I had to stand there and watch them because it does not take long. You will burn them in a heartbeat if you don't watch. I just toasted them until they were kind of brown. And probably a medium roast, I guess you would say, bordering on burnt. You don't want to burn them because you'll get a bitter taste in your coffee. So you just want to roast them. I put them in a coffee grinder and ground them into a powder. I made a pot of coffee with my percolator pot because back in the 1800s they would not have had a fancy coffee machine. They would have used just a regular coffee pot. So I used my perk pot, and they probably wouldn't even had a perk pot. They probably just would have had a coffee pot that just boiled. So I put 2 tablespoons of coffee to 4 tablespoons of sweet potato powder. Guys, it's really amazing. I'm going to show you what Heather's reaction is to this, but when you first get through grinding it, it almost smells like coffee. Isn't that pretty awesome? Okay, so smell of it and tell me what it smells like.
It smells almost exactly like coffee.
Isn't that awesome? And what is it?
It's sweet potatoes, grounded up.
It has a distinct flavor, smell to it that it reminds me of, I used to drink a type of coffee called taquino that was actually dates and figs and different things like that ground up, and this has a hint of that smell to it. So yeah, I would, it does have it's not going to be your traditional coffee smell, but it does have a different smell to it that I have smelled before in some coffees I've drank.
Here we have my coffee. I keep it in this glass container. It keeps it, and it says coffee. It keeps it dry and nothing gets in it. We're going to add, this is like a scoop that comes for coffee. So if I was going to be frugal and save on my coffee, I'm going to use 1 scoop of coffee to 2 scoops of our sweet potato. And then that's enough for half a pot, and I've got a whole pot, so I'm going to go 1 more of the coffee to 2 of the sweet potato. The first time I've made it in this pot, so we're going to be experimenting and seeing if it's going to be, and if it's stout, I like stout coffee, so I'm good. So we're going to put it on the burner, turn it on, and we're going to let it perk. Okay guys, now is the taste test. This is pretty hot because a perk pot makes it hotter than just these little dinky pots. And I'm going to try it. We're going to see. Roasted, it smelled like coffee. Cooking and pouring, it looks like coffee. But the taste is the deal. Let's see what it tastes like. It's tasting like coffee, but I'm going to have to let it cool off a little and drink some, and then I'll tell you after a little bit. Let it cool just a minute and we'll see what it's tasting like. But right now, it's kind of tasting a little like coffee. Granted, it has 2 scoops in it of coffee plus the 4 sweet potatoes. Okay, the coffee has cooled off and I can drink it. It's very mild. It tastes like coffee. It doesn't have a different taste. It could very well be used as a coffee additive so that you could stretch your coffee, make it go further, be a little frugal. Since we grow our own sweet potatoes, that would be a thing I could do. It's very pleasant. You just don't get that caffeine rush, and you're not going to get that extreme strong coffee taste, but for a fantastic milder coffee. If you're used to frappuccinos and cappuccinos with that strong taste, this is not it. But if you're used to just sitting down with a nice cup of coffee, this would work for that. So nothing like a cup of coffee and a snickerdoodle. It works for that too. So guys, my cup of coffee tasted pretty good. If you've ever drank a cheaper coffee, a brand, that's basically what it tasted like. So it is doable. It is doable if you have no other alternative. But I would probably go to drinking my teas, my herbal teas here, and give up coffee altogether. It is a process and it takes a while, and if you do not have electricity, I used a Excalibur dehydrator. If you don't have electricity, you have to put them outside and dry your sweet potatoes and stuff like that. It is a process. It's according to how much you want to work for your cup of coffee. So I'd like to thank Amanda from the Fundamental Home and Tangi the Caver's wife, who is now at Freedom Homestead, for allowing me to be a part of the Frugal Family Food network, or group, I guess you would call it. They are starting a blog. I participated in one of the first blog posts that they have on coffee, and so you can go over and check out the Frugal Family Food blog. I'll try to put a link in the description below where you can go and see my blog that I wrote, and check out all the other frugal ideas they have on coffee and different types of coffee, alternate coffees, how to make coffees cheap. They're going to have a lot on it this time. Next month, I think it's going to be ideas for 4th of July. Each month is going to be something different. So they're going to have a lot going on. They also have the Frugal Family Food on Facebook. Check that out. They do on YouTube. They ask different guests along the way to be part of the Frugal Family Food and to do meals and present it for the Frugal Family Food. I've been blessed to be a part of it at least twice, 3 times maybe now. And it was one of the first collaborations I ever did. And I'm really excited because I love working with these 2 ladies. They're awesome. So check out their channels too, The Fundamental Home and Freedom Homestead, as well as the Frugal Family Foods. Thank you guys from Crazy Days.